Welcome back to the second part of our journey through Mexico.
We continued exploring San Luis Potosí and were on our way to the Cave of Swallows.
At 372 meters, this cave has the highest freefall in the world. Many people come here to see thousands of swallows shoot out of the cave in the morning and dive back into it at sunset.
Our last stop in San Luis Potosí were Las Pozas, a subtropical rainforest in the mountains of La Huasteca Potosina, where Edward James, a British poet, transformed a coffee plantation into a bizarre land of surrealistic sculptures. Our long drive through the Sierra Madre mountain range in central Mexico was simply beautiful.
After a long drive through the mountains, we treated ourselves to an overnight stay at Grutas Tolantongo. We visited our first Mayan temples on the way to Mexico City before servicing our motorbike. Whilst waiting for the bike, we treated ourselves to lunch at the local shopping mall and kept ourselves busy until the bike was ready.
Our couchsurfer Mauro from Mazatlan arranged for us to stay with his family in Mexico City, and they took us out to Xochimilco.
After leaving Mexico City, we briefly stopped in Puebla and ran into a religious celebration.
We also visited the 500 years old tunnel system of Puebla, which was only discovered in 2015. The secret tunnels were used by royalty during the Revolution and Inquisition, but these days you can walk through them as well for about 50 pesos.
After fixing a clutch issue at the BMW dealership in Puebla, we continued our journey on to Oaxaca.
And by the time we arrived in Oaxaca, we were greeted by flash floods. Honestly, I was seriously scared at this point. Half an hour later, things had calmed down a little bit and we continued making our way to our Airbnb. We made it, but our motorbike was pretty steamy.
We fueled up on traditional Mexican food before exploring Oaxaca City. The next day we visited the Mayan archaeological site of Monte Alban.
That's my bins. Visiting Hierve el Agua and hiking to the calcified waterfalls was a huge highlight of Oaxaca.
On the way back, we visited the widest tree in the world. We drove many hours through the mountains of Oaxaca before stopping for some traditional lunch on the way to Mazunte.
The roads were a little rough in Mazunte and I definitely struggled with a few bike drops. The Oaxaca coastline was beautiful and had some of the best beaches in Mexico. On the day we wanted to leave Oaxaca, we ran into some terrible weather again.
A few days later, the weather still wasn't great, but we made our way to our next destination, Chiapas.
We fell in love with San Cristobal de las Casas instantly. We enjoyed the traditional local markets, getting lost in the cobbled little streets, taking in the beautiful colonial architecture and soaking in the vibe of this amazing city.
The natural beauty around Chiapas was breathtaking. It was finally time to find some cenotes in the Yucatán Peninsula.
However, to visit some cenotes, we had to trade our motorbike for horses. Some cenotes even required us to climb down ancient trees and walk through an entire caving system. It was time to leave and visit one of the most famous Mayan pyramids in the Yucatán Peninsula.
On the way to our next cenote, we spotted our second snake of the day. It was time to see some pink flamingos.
We parked our bike up at our Airbnb in Chiquila before taking the ferry across to Holbox Island.
I'm in the boat. After Holbox, we rode further down south the peninsula to Tulum, where there was an abundance of healthy food options.
The Mayan ruins of Tulum are very unique because they overlook the stunning coastline and you can even take a dip in the sea.
Our last stop in Mexico was the beautiful lagoon of 7 colours, Bacalar, where we went kayaking, booked a catamaran tour and just spent a few days relaxing.
Thank you for joining the second part of our journey through Mexico. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe and comment below. If you want to know more about any of the places we visited, please check out our travel blog.
And join us next week as we explore Belize and sail to the Blue Hole.